Hello and welcome back to the Reaching Your Full Potential Online Tech Summit, where top experts share their secret tips to stand out from the crowd and to use technology to be uber successful. Today, I have Susan MacNicol, and she is a recruitment marketing expert. I won't go too much in detail of her bio because I want her to explain. So why don't you tell us a little more about yourself?
Okay, so my background was originally in corporate marketing, and I've worked in Los Angeles and Chicago and Denver, a lot of media and entertainment businesses first, and then also worked internationally. And then I set up my own company called Strategic and Creative Marketing, and we're based in the Chicago area. And we offer full service marketing for clients, whether they're large or small. We work with a lot of small and mid-sized businesses, but we've also done a lot of consulting projects for major corporations like Nielsen and Experian and Time Warner. So kind of a mix of client sizes. And we do full service, so we'll develop the strategy and the plan first, and then turn it into all of the tactics that are needed. So whether they're traditional tactics like print, ads that are needed, or trade show materials, that type of thing, or digital tactics. We do a lot with social media, with the paid social and digital ads. And so we do all different areas of the tactics that we first start with the strategy and plan. So that's kind of what we offer. And one other area that's a little bit unique is called recruitment marketing. And some people are not familiar with it. And really what it is, it's been around for a long time, but it's got sort of a new spin now. What it is really, instead of doing marketing to promote the products or services from a company, the marketing is geared towards promoting the company itself and why it's a great place to work. What is the culture? What is it like having a job at that company? And so it's called recruitment marketing, and it blends sort of the recruiting side of the business and the marketing side of the business. And it's really important where companies are really trying to find the best talent right now. And we have something now that's called a transparent job market. And what that really means is the research is showing that before someone even applies to a company for work, before they even fill out an application or send a resume, they will usually have 8 to 12 touch points with that company. So what that means is they are looking online and looking at the social media. What are employees saying? What does the website say? What does the career site say? What is Glassdoor saying? So that's where it's the transparent market, because now companies, they can't always control the message themselves on who they are and what it's like working there, because there's so much out there in social media and on the internet that now individuals, candidates, can really search and find out a lot of detail about a company before they even apply. And so what happens with recruitment marketing is you want to try to really control the message, share the message of what is your company like. And so there's a lot of different tactics that can be used for something like that.
That's a very good bio. That's interesting to know for sure. You know, you mentioned that you've been before our call. You mentioned that you've been doing this for over 16 years or so. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about how you kind of where you are and how you got there, especially towards online and in the digital, I guess, aspect of it as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, when I started the company, it was much more traditional tactics, and so it was a lot of setting up programs. Like we would do, regional rollouts of a campaign. We would do, sales incentive programs and training and marketing strategy for clients, and then implementing the strategies into tactics. A lot of print materials and, mailers that would go out, print ads, and TV spots, radio spots. We did a lot of different work like that. And then over the years, especially the last 10 or 15 years, is where it started to transition to digital. And so that was a little bit of a learning curve on how do we produce digital ads? I mean, how do they work? The banner ads and turning to more of that. And then we went to more of landing pages, developing landing pages for people to click over to. So as everything turned to more digital, we've had to kind of adjust to that. And that was a big change, because I started off, it was much more just traditional media, traditional tactics. And so, now we offer all of the digital side, and we've become really specialized in the social media, the paid targeted social media, which is very, very powerful, using AI tools to reach exactly who you want to reach with the digital ads. And so that's an area that our company has become very strong at. But it's been a mix of doing projects for corporations and also, getting involved with some of the recruiting projects at some of the different companies. And we've done work with, Johnson & Johnson and DeVry and Sears corporate, Office Max corporate. So there's been a lot of different companies that we've worked with in the past in both the recruiting capacity and recruitment marketing, and then in the marketing area as well.
That's good to know for sure. It's amazing actually. If you kind of look at today's society right now, the current climate, it's very different with the pandemic, and we're all at home. Everything has turned to digital. How do you pivot and sort of adapt in today's environment?
Well, I think it's really important for companies to really focus right now on their digital presence, because what's happening, and I just read a statistic on this, almost 1 extra hour a day is what people are spending online now since the pandemic hit. So that's an extra hour. It went from like 6.1 to 7 point something hours a day that people are online, average person. So it's very interesting that, you know, it is happening to where it's impacting the online viewership. You know, people are out there. And so you have to ask yourself as a company, what are they seeing about your company? What's out there? What are you putting out there? Are you sharing information with prospects and with clients? Everything about your business hours, are you reopening, or how much are you open right now? So using your website, making sure it's updated, using social media, all of that is really critical right now with making sure that that message that you want to communicate is out there. And so what we've really encouraged clients to do is make sure you're sharing on your social channels, on your website, whatever's happening with your business in terms of the pandemic impact. Share that and communicate that through different channels so that you're in touch with those prospects and clients.
That's great. You know, you mentioned that you're a recruitment marketing expert, or you kind of focus on that area. Can you tell us a little bit more, kind of tell us how does that apply to, like, somebody would come to you like as a new business, how would they use that, and how would that be something that they should use rather as well
Okay.
too?
So if a company, wants to really get their recruiting section division in shape, what they really need to do is make sure, first of all, that they have some type of way of tracking their clients. So whether it's an ATS, which is applicant tracking system, or if they're using even just Excel sheet, if they're a smaller company. But it's really important now to track the candidates, and to make sure that once you have candidates that you've already reached, that are interested in you, that have sent a resume. In the past, we could take those candidates and sort of go through all of them and then choose the one we want and hire that person. And the rest of the candidates, we would just kind of set them aside. But now what's really important is to keep in touch and keep that constant communication with those candidates, so that we know already they're interested in your company, they've applied. So that, number one, they're aware of you. Number two, they're interested enough that they've applied with you. So those are a couple of key factors there that makes you say, hey, I want to keep in touch with these people. I don't want to just sort of let them go once this role is filled. What you want to do is maintain that, what we call a pipeline, and make sure that those individuals you're actively engaged with, and maybe sending a little email each month, or somehow reaching out to them and keeping them in communication with you and aware of your company, and sending out tips about the market and the industry. You don't want to just only send job information. You want to do it as more of a conversation where you're in touch with them, so that when the next position opens that's similar, you have got a really nice built-in base of candidates who are already there that you can reach back out to and say, hey, another position is now opened similar to what you applied for in the past. Would you be interested? And so that's a really great way to leverage the digital tools and just staying in communication, staying in touch with them. And so that's like setting that up, setting up the emails, setting up the pipeline. And then in addition, what's important too is internally within the communications within the company is making sure that there's a strong communication plan in place for sharing information about the company with the employees. And so that could be like every week or every other week, you create some little social media spots that go out. It could be a video showing the company, showing the office environment, highlighting the individuals, highlighting achievements at the company, special projects that they accomplished, or wins on new client projects, new initiatives, charity work, any of that, the company picnic, any of that can be captured and then shared with the employees, and let the employees know, hey, here's a clip, feel free to share it on your social network. Right. So then you're taking that information from the company, you're sharing it outward through all of the employees. And then that way the employees are also being able to share with their networks about, hey, we're doing these great things at my company, or look at the great new initiative that we have in place. And that's one of the best ways to go too in terms of hiring is employee referrals. And so setting up an employee referral program is also helpful. And to support that program, the social media can be in place
Right.
with your own employees. So they're promoting, they're communicating, and they're already reaching their own network of people with a message that you want out there about your company.
Right. No, that's that's amazing. That's good to know for sure. You talk about obviously recruitment and working with marketing and so forth with other companies. How do you handle? Like, how do you know when you have had the right idea, especially when you're dealing with companies that you have worked with, or yourself as well? How do you know when you have the right idea?
I think a lot of it is, first of all, how the client responds. If you present the idea and they're like, yeah, that sounds great, let's do it. I think that's great to have that enthusiasm. But then I think there's so many different ideas, and marketing is always a process. You always have to try something, see if it works, and then try something else and see if it works. So it's really important, I think, to track those results. You always have to track results. So that's how you know for sure if your idea worked, is if you have the results to back it up. Because you can always have these great ideas, and ideas are, wonderful to come up with, but then you have to see what's really going to work. And so to do that, you've got to track it. So the analytics on anything you do is really critical. And over the years, that's another big change I've seen, is that people used to kind of set up marketing and it wasn't tracked as thoroughly. And then over the last, say 10 years, I've seen such a trend in really tracking every single thing. And I think digital allows that even more so, because you can track the clicks and engagement and everything else. So that allows you to track what you're doing in marketing. So it's really important to see what are your results. And that tells you if your idea really, in fact, was an effective idea.
Right. No, that definitely is true for sure. I know we're almost running out of time, but if before we finish, just wanted to ask you, what is one tip that you can share with us that you can have success with if you implement today?
If for marketing or for opening a business?
For, I guess, either, both, maybe, or yeah.
Well, I'd say for marketing, one tip that's really important for a lot of small businesses is do the legwork of the foundational pieces first. Make sure before you run an ad or do a flyer or create a brochure or do a radio spot and anything that you're going to do, or even a trade show, really get clear and do yourself a little marketing plan. Look up, Google the basics of a marketing plan, but make sure that you covered various topics like understanding your competitors, being very clear on the products and services you want to sell. How do you compare to those competitors? Then what is your value proposition? What makes you unique? Make sure you're really clear on that. And then make sure that that information is put into your messaging so that the messaging is clear for each target. So if you're talking, say, to moms about your product, you're going to speak differently in all of your marketing than if you're talking to teachers or if you're talking to accounting professionals. Whoever you speak to, you've got to break them into your target markets. Make sure that your messages are very clear in who you're trying to reach. Don't just ever have a general message like, oh, this works for everybody. That doesn't work. It's got to be targeted for each of those individuals and for those markets, so you get a really good response when that marketing hits. So that's what I would say people need to make sure of when they're developing marketing, is really think through the strategy and the plan before you do any tactic at all.
Right. No, that's a very good tip. I know we have to run soon, but do you have any last things to add before you wrap up?
I just think, try to learn everything you can on marketing. There's some digital different techniques you can use that are actually free. So there's ways you can use digital by having a good profile on LinkedIn and Facebook and these different sites. And that can really help leverage the free use of some of the social and digital platforms to promote your company. So that's what I would say is, important nowadays for marketing.
Right. No, thank you for that. Definitely, the importance of that is so much, especially today as well too, right? We can't neglect that. Again, thank you so much for taking
Thank
your
you.
time to do this, and I really appreciate it. And we'll be in touch soon. Again, thank you so much.
Thanks so much.